Hello and welcome to WCBN FM Ann Arbor's broadcast of Michigan Lacrosse. I'm Morris Fabry, and thank you for tuning in on this brisk early spring evening game between the Michigan Wolverines and the Penn State Nittany Lions. Both of these come in with 1-3 records in the Big Ten, and with this being the final game of the regular season, both of these teams are playing for the fourth spot in the Big Ten, which would get them into the Big Ten tournament. If Michigan or Penn State loses this game, their season is over. And for seniors on today, that adds a bit of special meaning to the game. For the Michigan Wolverines, we're going to bid a fond farewell to David Joseph, Mike Francia, Matt Gembis, David McCormick, Andrew Moscow, Will Meter, Andrew Portnoy, Thomas Orr, and Kevin Wiley. Michigan 5-8 on the season, having lost 4 out of their last 5 games, most of which have come against Big Ten foes. The last 2 games, one of which was in the Big House, they got dominated by Ohio State, and against Johns Hopkins at Johns Hopkins, they were similarly defeated. The Penn State Nittany Lions, well, to compare, they have not been a ton better, but they did come close to beating Johns Hopkins. Their most recent game was a victory over Rutgers. The starters are out there on the field. We should be ready to start fairly soon here. It's about 50 degrees or so. The stands are about as full as they normally are. I received word before the game that perhaps some of the children of Yost hockey fans were going to make it here to watch the game. Certainly there are a few hundred Wolverines fans out there in the Block M across me up here in the press box to see their team do battle, but we're about ready to face off to start the beginning of the game. It will be Drake Crines in the middle facing off against a Wolverine who appears to be number 49 or 48, I believe. No, 49, Chase Brown. Chase Brown will be facing off for the Wolverines against Drake Crines. The ref puts the ball in the middle of the field. Steps away, blows his whistle, and we are underway. Crines knocks it into Michigan's defensive half, coming back and trying to pick up the loose ball are many Wolverines, and a flag on the play, already a foul, and ref's going to give possession to the Wolverines on this one. They got a little too aggressive in there, and if I'm not mistaken, it looks like Penn State Nittany Lion number 38, Drake Crines, will be going off for a penalty, so the Wolverines will have a minute on the power play right here to start this one. We are coming at you live from the Big House. Again, this is WCBN FM Ann Arbor's broadcast of Michigan Lacrosse. Thanks for tuning in. Picking up the ball near midfield is number 5, David McCormick. McCormick tosses it to the far side, and they will throw it behind the net. Now near side to number 46, Riley Kennedy. Kennedy up top to McCormick. Now they'll swing it back behind the net where it will find Will Meter. Swings it back near side to Kennedy. Kennedy working his way toward the midfield at 25. His pass dropped and picked off by number 7 for the Nittany Lions, but after a bit of a scrum, a loose ball finally gathered by number 44, J.P. Burnside. He moves back behind his own net with the ball. Running up the left side of the field, tosses it upfield, finds number 8, Matt Florence. Jukes Kyle Jackson at the 40-yard, his own 40-yard line, running from hash mark to hash mark toward the far side of the field, turns back with it, trying to find a pass, finds a man. It's number 7, Michael Richards. Richards swims his way through a couple Wolverines, gets across midfield, now working his way inside the 40, tosses it upfield, finds a man at the 35. That was number 10, Nick Aponte. He throws it back toward midfield. His loose pass is gathered over there by, I believe, number 8, Matt Florence. Yes, he's working at the 20-yard line on the near side, tosses it back upfield to Pat Manley. He has the ball at the 40-yard line. The penalty for Penn State has been killed. Manley swings it over to the right side, gets it back at the 40-yard line between the hash marks, moving in toward the 30. Quick pass, dump off to number 39 for the Nittany Lions, Mike Sutton. Sutton, the Nittany Lions leading goal scorer in conference play, still has it at the 20, has it knocked away from behind by Stephen Bergner. Loose ball picked up by TJ Sanders for the Nittany Lions. He's on the far side of the 20, throws it across the field to number 22, Manley, working toward his left hand, passes behind the net. Up in close is number 10, Aponte. spins with it at the 5-yard line, fakes a pass out front, now finally throws a pass to number 35, Dan Craig, swings back up top to Florence, who throws it to the far side where he will find Sutton. Sutton working in toward the goal, toward his right hand, goes behind the net, dumps it off to Aponte, swings it near side to number 39. That's Mike Sutton. Sutton swings back out to Florence, who gives it over to TJ Sanders on the far side, working in on the 10-yard line, defended closely there by Kine. Gets to his left hand, shoots, and that shot whistles just wide. Joe Logan was in good position anyway. The loose ball picked up by Aponte behind the Michigan net. Works his way out toward the 10-yard line, cuts back in behind the net, pass out far side. Working, turning is Sanders, can't find a lane. They get it back out to Matt Florence between the hash marks at the 35, throws it near side. Running down the left sideline is Dan Craig. Craig at the 5-yard line, swings it out front, shot ripped, scores. They beat Gerald Logan at his feet, bounced it by him on the left side of the net, and that was number 29, TJ Sanders, the overall goal-scoring leader for the Penn State Nittany Lions on the season. He has moved to more of a facilitating role in conference play as Mike Sutton leads the team with 11 goals, but that will be Sanders' 5th goal in conference play for the Nittany Lions and his 25th on the season. Penn State with an early lead here in the Big House. They lead the Michigan Wolverines 1-0. So ready to face off again. In the middle will be Brad Lott and Drake Kreitz. Ref puts the ball down in the middle. Steps back, and we are underway. Loose ball poked and picked up by Kreitz. Kreitz crossing midfield over to the 40-yard line on the far side, now to the 30, the 25, the 20, swings it behind the net. Over there with the ball on the far side at the 10-yard line at the numbers is number 29, TJ Sanders, the goal scorer for the Nittany Lions. He works his way back toward the goal line on the far side, hash marks. Now between the hash marks, still on the goal line, being defended closely by a Wolverine, moving to his left toward the far side of the field, swings it back out to the 30-yard line. They'll get it back up to the 40. And now back to the 30. It's number 1, Brian Prestro, working to pick up a loose ball. Finally picks it up, swings it to the near side. Aponte at the 40-yard line. Numbers working toward his right. Down midfield, cuts to his left. Running in by the 10-yard line, spins with it, looking for a lane to shoot perhaps. Has it behind the net, swings it out to Sutton. Sutton back up top to number 1, Prestro. Prestro's crossfield pass almost intercepted, but now moving in on goal is Sanders. He swings it behind the net to Aponte. Sorry, that is not Aponte behind the net, but number 25, Ryan Keenan. Keenan swings it back out. They have it in Prestro's hands now at the 20-yard line, near side, hash marks, turns, spins, finds a man. It's Sutton across the field to the far side numbers, where it will be handled by Keenan. Keenan swings it near side to Aponte, back to Prestro, back across field to number 26, Matt Sexton. Sexton behind the net. Working with it now is Sanders. Sanders working toward his left hand, spins, trying to find space in front of the net, turns with it. Sorry, that's Keenan with it, actually. Defended close by a couple Wolverines, knocked to his bottom and throws the ball out of bounds. The Wolverines will take advantage of that turnover. Heading up the sideline, number 35, Chase Young, swings it upfield. Has a man, it's number 50, Parker McKee. McKee throws it behind the net to a man, I believe that's David McCormick. Throws it into Will Meter. Meter backing his way toward the far sideline at about the goal line. Gets a screen from McCormick, now moving toward his left, toward the near side, has the ball at about the 7 or 8 yard line, and dumps it back out toward midfield where he finds Mikey Schlosser. Schlosser at the 40, 35 yard line, hash marks, running toward the right side, still nears the sideline at the 20 yard line at the numbers. Schlosser swings it across field to Mike Hernandez. Hernandez working in at the 20, far side, back behind the net to McCormick, now over to Meter. Meter at the goal line, near side, finds Kyle Jackson at the 20 yard line. Jackson dumps it back out to Schlosser, backed near midfield at about the 45 yard line. Now he's running toward his left side to the 35-30, left side hash marks. He's bodied up a bit, fakes a shot, spins, throws far side, finds Hernandez. Hernandez bodied up intensely by a Penn State defender, knocked back out toward the 35, swings it over to Hernandez, and that's an errant pass. It gets by Hernandez, and Penn State is going to take over now. With it for the Nittany Lions, number 13, James Chakey lofts a pass over midfield and over the head of his intended target, number 23, Tommy O'Neill. Another turnover, some sloppy play early on between these two sides. Now taking it across the field is a defender. I'll get you his number in a sec. That was, I believe, Stephen Bergman. Anyway, it swung back behind the net to Ian King, who Gives it to the far side, David McCormick. McCormick wearing number 25, or at about the 25-yard line on the far side of the number, swings it back toward midfield. McCormick obviously wears number 5. Moving down at the 15-yard line, they swing it behind the net. They find Meter on the near side. Still working at about the goal line. Turns with it. Gets it back out toward midfield to number 7, Brendan Gaughan. Gaughan back to up top to number 46, back to Gaughan. Gaughan rips in at the 20. His shot just high of target. It bounces out of play. It will be picked up behind the net by King. That was number 46, Ryan Kennedy, working at King. Fresh off picking it up, shoots, and that ball off the crossbar. The goalie, Connor Darcy, had no idea where it was, but fortunately for him, picked up by a Nittany Lion defender and handled. Penn State breaking out of their zone now. Michigan getting some substitutions. It'll be Matt Florence, across the 50-yard line down the left side of the field, now to the 30. Stops with it there at the numbers, gives it back out toward midfield to his man. And they'll swing it back to the near side to Dan Craig. Craig back toward midfield to number 22, Pat Manley. They'll swing it back and forth between he and Matt Florence. Florence along the left side, now streaking toward his left across the 25-yard line. Hash marks, passes it off. Bodying up down low as Mike Sutton throws it behind the net to Nick Aponte. Trying to cut in, knocked off balance, almost lost his feet by Andrew Hett. Now he swings it to the far side. They'll get it up top to number 22, Pat Manley. Manley fakes a pass, runs in, swings behind the net to Aponte. Aponte looking for a pass out front, can't find it at about the 5-yard line. Swings it back to Florence. Now back to the middle of the field at the 25-yard line. A Penn State Nittany line knocked to the floor. Loose ball is picked up by number 49, Chase Brown, heading the other way with a lot of steam. He pulls up a little bit short, still has the ball at the 25-yard line on the right side. Hash marks, now backs off. He's got plenty of room to work with, but not a lot of Wolverines to pass to at the time being. Now he'll find Mikey Schlosser at the 45-yard line between the hash marks. He'll run down the right side of the field before dumping it up behind the net to Will Meter. Meter swings it across the field to number 5, McCormick. Try to run inside, thought better of it, pulls it out, passes across field to number 17, Mikey Schlosser. Schlosser at the 30, 25, 20 down the right side. Not really trying to find a way inside, just passes behind the net to Meter. Meter taking his time with it, waiting for something to develop, running toward the left side. Dumps it off to a man fresh off the bench, Kyle Jackson, cutting in 20-yard line. His shot saved by Connor Darcy. That was a good effort by Jackson. About 10 yards out between the hash marks, at as good of a look as you could want as a Michigan attacker, but Connor Darcy was up to the task. Darcy now swings it out to the near side to Aponte. Got a couple Wolverines off balance. Crosses midfield at the 40-yard line on the hash marks. Tosses it back across the field to Brian Prestro on the near side. 25-yard line at the numbers. Back toward midfield. They'll give it back to Prestro on the near side. Prestro working down toward the 15, the 10-yard line now, taking it behind the Wolverines net. He'll swing it over to a Penn State Nittany line, number 26, Matt Sexton. Sexton working in the Michigan end zone, finding his way out, cutting toward the left side, bodied up, gets inside. He's met by a couple Wolverines, still has the ball. His pass out to Prestro, a shot blocked down in front of the net, picked up by a Wolverine. And I believe that was David Joseph doing some defensive work there. Perhaps I think it was Matt Gembis. Anyway, with the ball now for the Wolverines is number 35, Chase Young. He's on a long run across midfield, finally makes it there at the 40, now down to the 30, the 25, and he underhands it over to Mikey Schlosser. Sorry, that's Riley Kennedy. Hard to tell numbers with the shadows, the way they're working in the stadium right now. Anyway, Meter with the ball in the Michigan end zone toward the near side, gives it back to David McCormick. McCormick to the far side to Ian King. King swings it back out. Has a man. Now it's Joseph swinging it over to Kennedy. Kennedy on the near side, 20-yard line, throws it behind the net. Crisp pass to Will Meter. Meter working near the end line for Michigan. Now out to the 5-yard line, swings it back out. The Wolverines just cycling the ball, looking for an opening to materialize. It's number 7, Gaughan, working his way toward the 15-yard line, backing his way down in. Dumps it behind the net now. Finds a man. It's McCormick. McCormick faked a dump off to Meter. Now out in front of the net. Turns, rips a shot, and it's saved again by Connor Darcy. McCormick trying to find a spot high over the shoulder of Darcy, but he was ready with his catching stick. And now going the other way with it are the Penn State Nittany Lions, crossing Midfield at the far side is Tommy O'Neill, now at the 25-20, dumps it behind the net. Finds a man over there. It looks to be number 26, Sexton. Sexton gives it back out to number 8, Matt Florence. Florence at the far side, numbers 10-yard line, now 5-yard line, behind the net, working his way in close. Shimmies, now gets back, crosses a Wolverine defender up, and he falls to the ground, but cuts his way back behind that. Good help defense there by the Wolverines. Sutton swings it out to Aponte, back over to Sexton. Now behind the net to number 35, Dan Craig. Craig working his way in, shimmies toward his left hand on the far side, dumps it out. They find Aponte in front of the net, fakes a shot, now moving to his left hand, quick touch pass inside. The shot by Florence is saved by Gerald Logan on one hop. He tries a quick outlet pass, but it's picked off by Aponte. Aponte throws it inside. That shot is on net and fortunately just wide, actually. Logan able to dive and gain possession for the Wolverines as he got his way closer to that ball before it went out of play. And we're going to have a timeout, I believe, by the Wolverines coach, John Paul, here with 3 minutes and 33 seconds left in the first quarter here at the Big House. The shot tally on the game, Penn State has taken 5. The Wolverines have taken 4, but Connor Darcy a little bit more equal to the task than Michigan goalie Gerald Logan, and that is the difference on today's game, as Penn State right now with a 1-0 lead with 3:33 to go in the first quarter. The Wolverines not able to generate much penetration up in front of the net. Done with purpose, if you ask me. Penn State has had their fair share of opportunities, but the Wolverines have thus far stifled Penn State's ability to really add on and, bleed them to death with cycling all around the area. The crowd has gotten a little bit more dense as we've gone on here in this first quarter. Plenty of kids here, perhaps high school kids, maybe who will join this Michigan lacrosse program that was started back in 2012. And yet to have a lot of success on the national stage, but certainly if guys keep coming to play, fans keep coming out, this is a pretty good venue for a sport to grow, and I think we can expect that one day, maybe in the not-so-distant future, this Michigan lacrosse program will be something to be reckoned with. We're about to get back underway. At least I believe we are. Penn State has yet to break the huddle, although there are attacking Wolverines strewn about the field. It appears as though Dan Kynek will be taking a shift in the attacking zone for the Michigan Wolverines. Picking up the ball behind the net will be the goalie, Gerald Logan. Logan tossing it up, just waiting for the shindig to get back underway here at the Big House, Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Meanwhile, in other sports news, the Detroit Red Wings are taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning in a series that's now 2-2 on NBC Sports, but I'm sure you're all already aware of that. Thus far, it is a scoreless game, about 3 minutes and 22 seconds in. Refs are about ready to get back underway. The players have all taken the field for both sides, and you heard the whistle blow. Logan running up the right side for the Wolverines. Stops at the 35, plants throws across the field to a man, number 4, Matt Gembis. Gembis gives it back to Logan. Logan's soft pass across midfield is tipped and picked off again, and a poor decision-making pass by Gerald Logan. That one intercepted by number 23, James Burke, for Penn State. Penn State will take their time in their defensive end. The goalie, Darcy, throws it over to Matt Florence. Florence cuts his way across midfield. Now at the 40, the 35 on the right side, hash marks. Florence taking his time, gives it back out to Pat Manley. Manley at the 40-yard line, unmolested by any Wolverine defenders, tosses it over to Dan Craig on the left side, coming off the bench. Craig working his way inside at the 20, stops, moves toward the outside. His pass inside, bounced on net, and I think Logan got that with the tip of his stick, deflecting it wide. Penn State will maintain possession behind the net. Number 10, Nick Aponte, will grab that for the Nittany Lions, and he starts with a Hard run out toward the right side, dumps it back out to Craig. Craig up top to Florence, working his way down the right side hash marks, fakes a pass, spins inside, shot just high and wide on the left side of the goal mouth. Lets it go wide, and Penn State picks it up. It'll be Aponte again behind that. Turn, rips and shoots and scores. Nick Aponte picking up that loose ball after the shot, coming up from behind the net on the right side, turning and just whipping one over the right shoulder of Gerald Logan before he could react. And just like that, it is 2-0 Penn State here in this must-win game for the Wolverines. With 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the first quarter, Michigan's going to have to win this faceoff and get some sort of a response in place before the end of this first quarter, lest the Nittany Lions totally wrest the momentum from them and run away with this crucial game. It'll be Lott and Kreitz facing off at midfield again. The refs have put the ball down. They blow their whistle, and we'll get back underway. 2 minutes left for the Wolverines in this period to get something done. They're still wrestling over it. It's picked up by the Wolverines. Heading the other way. In on goal now is number 40, I believe 46, Riley Kennedy, and his shot just bounced wide of goal. Wolverines will pick up the loose ball. It'll be McCormick behind the net for Michigan. Stops, plants, throws to the far side. Ian King at the 15, 20-yard line at the numbers. Throws it back out to Kyle Jackson at midfield between the hash marks. He's at the 40-yard line. Over to Hernandez on the near side, running toward the 25, cuts inside, cuts back outside, throws behind the net to Will Meter. Will Meter throws it out to King, who has no one in his vicinity. Throws it back toward midfielder Schlosser. Now over to Hernandez on the near side, running toward his left, toward the middle of the field. Fakes the pass out near the 20. He shoots, and his shot goes just high. Loose ball will be chased down and picked up by number 15, Will Meter. Meter working his way toward the hash marks, toward the 5-yard line. Stops there. Plants, throws back across to Peter McCormick. McCormick trying a run. A couple Penn State defenders making sure they can't find the front of the goal from behind the net, just like the Nittany Lions just did. Meter has it now in the end zone, running toward his right hand, spins toward the left hand, out in front. Not able to get in front. His pass out to Hernandez is tipped and eventually picked up by Mikey Schlosser out near the 35-yard line. Now he cuts in toward the 30. A minute remaining here in the first quarter, toward the 20, trying to get room for a shot. Loses the ball, and it's picked up by the Nittany Lions. Going the other way with it is number 17. He'll swing it up to number 7, Michael Richards. Richards makes a cut, gets his way across midfield. Now at the 40, 30-yard line, stops at the 25, passes it quickly over to Sutton. They throw it behind the net to a man. I believe that is TJ Sanders. Gets it to the near side to number 10, Nick Aponte. Aponte taking his time, working it slowly behind the Michigan net. On the near side is Aponte, moving back toward the 10, 15-yard line. Swings it out to number 1, Brian Prestro. Prestro across the field. Finds a man cutting in on net. Number 26. Throws it behind the net to 29, TJ Sanders on the far side at the 5-yard line. Working toward his left, Sand trying to find a pass or a lane toward the middle. Gets a screen. Finds a bit of a shooting lane, but he is harassed and knocked loose of the ball by Stephen Bergman. And Matt Gembus will throw it all the way down the field as the first quarter has come to a close. The Michigan Wolverines trailing the Nittany Lions 2-0. A bit of a frantic last gasp chance there by Penn State. Turned into nothing doing as the Wolverines defense were able to rebuff that attack. Just a reminder, you are listening to WCBN FM Ann Arbor's coverage of Michigan lacrosse. You can hear us call all kinds of sports over on our YouTube channel, either this YouTube channel or the secondary one. We will be covering all the softball and baseball home games that occur over the rest of those seasons. Perhaps not into tournament play due to budgetary restrictions, but we will be bringing you as much Michigan sports action as possible. All of our coverage is brought to you in part by and sponsored by perhaps the Daily Sports Report, which you can listen to Monday through Thursdays from 6 to 6:30 p.m. on WCBN FM Ann Arbor 88.3 on your dial, or you can find us online at WCBN.org. Elsewhere in the world of somewhat local sports, the Detroit Tigers were able to defeat the Cleveland Indians 4-1 in a showdown at Comerica today. That was the Tigers the end of their 4-game losing streak, and definitely a sight for sore eyes for Tigers fans. Maybe not the offensive explosion that we've been waiting for, but at least it got the job done. Able to hand it over to their closer, Joaquim Soria, who has been near perfect on the year for the Tigers. So we're about ready to face off at midfield. It'll be Drake Kreitz facing off against Brad Lott for the Wolverines. The Wolverines have a few guys they can throw into that face-off circle, none of whom have had much success on the year. Lott with a 48% success rate is the leader in that stat for the Wolverines. So Lott and Kreitz converge at midfield. These final seconds, just both sides getting ready for the second quarter to get underway. Refs taking their time, looking toward the sidelines. Puts the ball down. Kreitz and Lott get on their knees, ready to do battle. Ref steps away, blows his whistle. We are underway. Lott and Kreitz tie each other up, and the ref will award possession to I think he awarded it to the Wolverines, and Dan Kynack picks it up, swings it to the other side to Will Meter. Meter on the far side of the field, jogging toward the near side in the end zone, stops at the hash marks and swings it to the near side to 46, Riley Kennedy. Riley Kennedy backing his way toward the 30, finds number 7, Andrew Gahn at the 30-yard line, hash marks, far side. Backing his way down toward the numbers at the 20. Behind the net, close is Meter, who swings it back out to number 46, Kennedy. Kennedy at the 35-30 at the left side hash marks, running down toward the 20, stops, digs into the turf, swings it behind the net. In close behind the net is number 15, Will Meter, in prime facilitation position. His pass out front is handled, but no shot on net there for number 46, Kennedy. Kennedy back out toward midfield, finds a man. It is number 7, Andrew Gahn. Gahn working his way inside, stops, spins, throws it back outside. That was number 1, David Joseph, who found Kennedy at the 30-yard hash marks, far side. Stops there, swings it to the far side. Number 7, Gahn working his way, and his shot deflected, saved by Connor Darcy. He has been superb in net today for the Nittany Lions. Now running with it the other way is number 3, Tom O'Neill. His pass dumped off, shot on goal and into the top left corner. I think that was Nick Aponte. It was, with his second goal of the game now for the Penn State Nittany Lions. The Michigan Wolverines in a bit of trouble, having given up 3 unanswered goals. And that was really a pinpoint shot, almost barred down and in for the Penn State Nittany Lions, taking advantage of the Wolverines' weakness on the counter attack. As the Wolverines had the ball out in front of the net, were unable to get it done. So it looks like it will be Lott and Kreitz again on the face-off. The Wolverines now down 3-0. The refs put the ball down, blow the whistle. They're fighting for it. Lott pokes it toward the near side, running down, tracking it down, knocking it up in the air is a Wolverine, number 35, Chase Young. It's finally won by the Wolverines, heading down into deep offensive territory. Charlie Keedy swings it over to Will Meter, who gives it up to Kyle Jackson at the 25-yard line on the near side numbers. He'll send it back toward midfield to Schlosser. Schlosser working toward the 30-yard line, far side numbers, works his way back to the hash marks at the 35, gives it up to Mike Hernandez. Hernandez at the 25-yard line, working his way down with a cut short side toward the net, drives his way toward the net, now swings, turns with it, gives it up to Ian King. King at the 25-yard line, working toward his right hand, bodies up, soft shot is deflected and thrown wide. It will be chased down and picked up by Will Meter, who got to the spot first. Meter swings it to the near side to McCormick at the 10-yard line, cuts inside, spins. Penn State defenders have done a great job of being physical with these Wolverines, fending them off of their spots in front of the net. They'll swing it back out to Schlosser, cuts toward the far side. He's met there by a Penn State defender, still digging his way in down the right side. Stops, throws across to King. King finds a man cutting in toward the net, using his body and giving up the pass. There is number 16, Hernandez. Hernandez gives it back to King. King spins, gets behind the net, looking for a Wolverine out front. Runs a full cycle around the net, throws a shot low on goal, and he scores. Ian King runs basically a full circle all the way around the net and found a spot where he felt comfortable letting one rip and got it by the legs of Connor Darcy. So a key answer there for the Wolverines as King basically ran in a semicircle from hash mark to hash mark on both sides of the 15-yard line, all around the goal, and stopped through a left-handed short side shot that was able to beat Darcy low, and the Wolverines back within 2 here at the Big House. Again, it will be Lott and Kreitz facing off at midfield. Let's put the ball down, and Kreitz, I think, Lott was a bit premature in that faceoff, so Kreitz picks it up and goes the other way. For the Nittany Lions, they'll dump it off over to number 8, Matt Florence. Florence stops at the 30. Near side numbers, swings it back to the middle of the field to Pat Manley, who backs his way up toward the 40. Manley to the near side to Florence. Florence walking his way back toward the 40 at the numbers, swings it to midfield. Manley back to Florence. Florence now making a run in down the 20-yard line. Dumps it behind the net, finds a man. It is Nick Aponte, who swings back out to Craig. Over to Manley. Manley working his way down the left side. On the short side, gets his way in behind the net. All the way around the net. His shot bounces just to the right side of the net. I'm not sure if Logan got his leg on that, but either way, Penn State able to track down the loose ball. It looked like Stephen Bergman had a bit of a speed advantage there, but it is tracked down by Mike Sutton. Sutton dumps it off to Aponte, swings back out to the near side numbers 30-yard line. Florence swings it over to Manley across, back to Manley at the 40, gives it up to Florence on the near side at the 25, dumps it in behind the net to Aponte. Nick Aponte working his way toward the net, spins right in close, shoots and scores. Really a defensive lapse there by Matt Gembis, who had him walled off in near the net on the far side of the 10-yard line, but just let him spin right off him and get in front of the goal. That one, absolute point-blank range. Nothing Gerald Logan could have done outside of a miracle on that one, and Penn State answers right back with a goal, taking a 4-1 lead here at the Big House. In the face-off circle, it will again be Brad Lott and Drake Kreitz. Refs put the ball down. Lott and Kreitz tying each other up, both refusing to yield an inch. It is still loose, and a bit of a scrum developing over there at midfield. Dan Kynek and Riley Kennedy were in on that, and they'll award possession to the Nittany Lions, heading across midfield, going the other way and dumping it behind the net. They will to TJ Sanders. Sanders at the 5-yard line, near side, behind to Aponte. No, sorry, behind to Sutton. Sutton taking Aponte's job for the time being, working his way toward the far side numbers at the 10. Now working with in on net. He's grabbed and thrown off by number 40, Stephen Bergman, but now working back toward net is Sanders. Sanders gives it up to Sexton, back to Aponte, and now over to Matt Florence. Sorry, Brian Prestro. Prestro gives it up to number 25, Ryan Keenan, whose shot went high and wide of target. Penn State, the first to that one, chases down the loose ball. Refs blowing for a pause in the game as there was a ball on the field. Now whistling back underway. Turning with it behind the goal as Sutton dumps it off over to Sanders. Sanders moving toward his left, stops, turns with it. He's knocked back by a Wolverine, and that's going to be a penalty for the Wolverines as soon as they gain possession. And Sexton now working his way in on net, passes it to the far side. They'll dump it back behind the net to Keenan. Keenan turns with it back toward his left hand, backing his way down in toward net. Finds Sanders. Sanders' shot rips wide of the goal. And now with that pause in the game, the Wolverines are going to have a player go off for a penalty, I do believe. Yeah, the Wolverines are getting their subs on now, and going off is number 40, Stephen Bergman, the sophomore from Winmore, Pennsylvania. Doing a minute in the sin area for slashing. Penn State with a 3-goal lead will look to add to that. It'll be Prestro. Back to the 30, over to Craig, now to Florence. They're cycling the puck with a lot of speed. Sutton, over to Prestro. Back out to Sexton. Inside, shot off the post. The ball is loose and finally picked up by Gerald Logan, but the refs blow the whistle, and I think a bit of a rough extracurricular activity on the count of the Wolverines will reward the ball back to Penn State. With it now is number 8, Florence at the 30, swings it over to Sexton. Back to Craig, inside shot just bounces wide. Prestro cutting toward the middle, had an opportunity there. The loose ball chased down and picked up by Mike Sutton. Sutton back in the end zone, 32 seconds now, 31-30 on the power play for the Nittany Lions. Sexton has it near midfield, dumps it off to Dan Craig. Craig across to number 8, Florence. Florence back to Sexton. Pass right down in front of the goal. Shot is bounced around and saved. Still loose in the penalty area. And the refs blow the whistle, and I believe another foul against the Wolverines will re-award Penn State the possession here. Handling it at the 10-yard line near side is TJ Sanders. Dumps it off to Craig. Back to Sanders. Shot ricochets off the bar, bounces out toward midfield. And that ball's going to cross midfield and be picked up by number 15, Will Meter. Will Meter being whacked from behind. Stops at the 20. Michigan power play, or penalty kill, I should say, is over as Meter dumps it back to a man, number 5, David McCormick. McCormick working his way back behind the net now between the hash marks at the end zone goal line. Gives it up to Ian King. King, Michigan's leading point scorer, goal scorer. No, just point getter on the season for the Wolverines. Working toward his left-hand stop. Shoots short side. Almost found a crease there, but that one just bounces wide, and it will be tracked down by number 5, David McCormick. McCormick working with it on the near side at the 5-yard line. Swings it back over to number 7, Andrew Gahn. Gahn toward midfield at the 35-yard line. Throws it across to number 46, Riley Kennedy. Spins with it. Short side. Gets it behind to McCormick. McCormick working his way back out front. He is rebuffed and backs it up. Now moving toward his right hand. Spins toward his left at the 10-yard line. Gets it back out. And they'll swing it to Joseph. Joseph dropped the pass, able to pick it up. David Joseph now running down the left side in toward the goal for the Wolverines. Stops at the 10, looking for a passing lane. Finds McCormick behind the net. McCormick over to Joseph. Joseph out to midfield to Gahn. Gahn swings it to the far side. That, I believe, is number 46, Riley Kennedy. Moves in, stops. Now moving back in on goal, short side opportunity. Now passes out front. Has Will Meter. Will Meter running in behind the goal. Could have dumped it off to McCormick. Opted to keep it for himself now. Will Meter working behind the goal, and a timeout called by Michigan head coach John Paul. So with 7:03 to go here in the second quarter, Michigan trailing the Penn State Nittany Lions 4-1 here in this win or go home game at Michigan Stadium. Senior day for the Michigan seniors. And, well, the last Big Ten game in the career of some of these Penn State seniors. Michigan really has not been able to get much organic attack on the offensive side of the ball. And on defense, a couple of costly mental errors have surrendered some goals for the Wolverines. Still a bit chilly out there. The temperature dropping down into, I would say, the low 40s. Well, at least it will be the low 40s by the time we are done here, but the crowd still sticking it out, wearing perhaps their winter apparel that they hope not to need to break out for the rest of the year. Camera pans around the stands and gives everybody their 15 seconds of fame on the big board here at the big house. Some lucky high school lacrosse team, it appears, decked out in their own gear, just got on screen. Whoever's operating that camera having a good time and giving a good time to everybody he or she shines his lens upon. We're about ready to get back underway after the timeout. Handling on the near side at the 5-yard line is David McCormick. On the field with him are Schlosser, Hernandez, number 10, Ian King, and I believe Kyle Jackson and Will Meter, but I might be mistaken. Didn't bring out the binoculars today. We're back underway here. McCormick swings it to number 17, Mikey Schlosser, dumps it back to Hernandez near midfield at about the 45, running toward his right. Defended physically by a Penn State Nittany Lion, dumps it behind the goal to number 15, Will Meter. Meter finds a man out in front, passes knocked away, picked up by the goalie, Connor Darcy. Darcy swings it out to the left side and crossing midfield successfully for the Penn State Nittany Lions is number 1, Prestro. Throws it inside, shot blocked by Logan. That was TJ Sanders with a golden opportunity. A Wolverines defender has lost his stick. That was 40 Bergman. The loose ball picked up by number 39, Mike Sutton, for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Sutton gives it up to Florence. Matt Florence with all kinds of time and space at the near side 30-yard line with the ball. Crosses the 20 now to the 15. Throws it behind the net to Nick Aponte. Aponte takes his time, throws it back to the near side numbers to Matt Florence. Florence dumps it off to Pat Manley. They give it back to Florence, back to Aponte, behind the net on the near side, now toward the hash marks, running toward his right hand, back out in front of the net, stops, spins with it on Gembis, spins back again toward his left hand. His shot just wide of target. The loose ball will be tracked down and picked up by number 29, TJ Sanders. The Nittany Lions, Sanders, between the hash marks, behind the net, works his way out front, ladles one in toward the goal. That one not able to be directed on net, but it goes wide and will be chased down again by the Nittany Lions. This time it's Pat Manley with it for Penn State. Manley stutter steps his way inside, stops at about the 20-yard line at the hash marks, passes out to Florence. Florence throws it across field to Craig. Craig at the far side numbers in at the 10-yard line, working his way in toward the goal, stops, passes across crease to Sanders, plants, passes back out, a shot on goal right into the waiting catcher's stick of Gerald Logan. Good job squaring that one, but that shot was not very threatening. Logan saw it all the way. And now moving across field is number 32, Charlie Keedy. He'll throw a pass up to a waiting Wolverine on the attack, number 50, Parker McKee. Work with it now behind the net and swing it to the near side to number 6, Peter Kraus. Kraus back toward midfield. Finds number 7, Gone. Gone gives it up to number 1, David Joseph, at the 35-yard line on the far side. Back to Gone at the 15. Gone behind the net. Now they'll get it over to Francia. Mike Francia on for the Wolverines. The senior swings it back to number 15, Will Meter. Meter working behind the net, spins with it, moving out toward the front of the net. Gives it up to Kraus. Kraus back to Riley Kennedy. Kennedy cutting toward his left hand at 30 to 25. Cross field pass, finds a man. It's Gone. Gone bodying his way in. His shot, speculative effort, is saved by Connor Darcy. That one headed for the top corner. Darcy with a one-hot pass up the field. Finds a man going the other way. It's number 8, Matt Florence. Florence dumps it over to number 10, Nick Aponte, who has 2 goals on the day for the Nittany Lions. Aponte working his way behind the net. Defended there, watched closely by Bergman. Takes his time with it. Michigan not showing a lot of defensive pressure. He'll dump it off. Number 25, Keenan. Ryan Keenan working his way back toward the 30. Swings it over to number 1, Brian Prestro. Prestro to number 10, Nick Aponte. Aponte defended by the Wolverines, Brendan Gone. Aponte jogs his way in behind the net. Working toward his left hand, dumps it back behind to Sanders. So that's not Sanders, that's number 25, Ryan Keenan. As the defense screams out lefty, letting everybody know where he will try to go. Now Aponte has it behind the net. Stops, spins, moving toward his left. Bit of a crease, met there by a Wolverines defender, and he spins back toward the near side. Throws it back behind the net to Keenan. Keenan and Aponte with a good two-man game. Keenan out front toward his left hand. His shot saved off the stick of Logan, up in the air, bounces behind the net. It's caught out of the air by Nick Aponte. And the refs are going to blow a whistle as the Penn State Nittany Lions have opted to call a timeout. Here with 2 minutes and 48 seconds to go in the second quarter. They still lead the Wolverines 4-1. A low-scoring affair, but one that has been much more low-scoring for the home team. And obviously your favorites at home, the Wolverines, with 11 shots to Penn State's 20, have been outclassed by a team that, well, has played pretty much at their level throughout the course of the season. The Nittany Lions perhaps have elevated their play as of late, as their most recent two games were a 2-overtime 11-10 loss to Johns Hopkins to go along with a 5-goal victory against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. They also played close against Ohio State in a home game that was broadcast on ESPNU. Meanwhile, over on NBC Sports, the Red Wings and Lightning are still tied in a scoreless game with 2 minutes and 20 to go in the first period. You can watch that perhaps during halftime of this lacrosse game if there is no intermission. The crowd hasn't had a lot of opportunities to cheer today, so really the highlight of the game for them, for many of them, has been getting shown on that big board. Ian King with the lone tally for the Michigan Wolverines. Scoring today for Penn State. Twice has been Nick Aponte, one, I believe, for Aponte has 3 goals for Penn State, and the other one has gone to TJ Sanders. Connor Darcy has made 5 saves and 6 shots on goal. Logan has made 8 saves on 12 shots on goal. The Wolverines have definitely faced a pretty ferocious attack from these Nittany Lions, and we're back underway here. Sanders swings it across the field, finds Aponte, gives it up. They give it back to Sanders at the near side at the 25-yard line. Looking for a pass inside, looking for a lane inside, now gives it up, and Florence working his way in. His shot high and wide on the right side of the goal. Loose ball is chased down by a Nittany Lion, number 35, Dan Craig. Craig working with the left hand, throws it back out to Pat Manley. Manley across the field to Florence. Florence stops, spins, back to Manley. His pass knocked away, ball on the ground. Loose ball is picked up by the Michigan Wolverines. That'll be number 2, Andrew Hatton, picking it up. It was a different player who was able to deflect that pass, and now crossing midfield, heading the other way, number 35, Chase Young. Young swings it over to the far side, has a man coming back up the field. Not sure who that is by the number, but they'll swing it back out near midfield. Number 17, Schlosser. Schlosser's pass down low is deflected, knocked away. Ball still loose and a flag thrown. And they're going to get another Michigan Wolverine for a penalty here. No, I believe they're going to get the Nittany Lions for one here. That's a number 44, J.P. Burnside, the second slashing penalty we've seen on this game today, but this time going against Penn State. So with 1:39 to go in the second quarter, the Wolverines will have a minute's worth of power play to get back and cut into this deficit a little bit. Handling the ball on the near side will be number 6, Peter Krause. Krause dumps it behind the net to Will Meter. Meter swings it over. They'll find number 5, McCormick. Back to Krause. Back behind the net to Meter. They're really cycling the ball well. Hernandez, Krause, now Ian King. Dumps down to Meter, back to King at the 20-yard line near side. Quick pass. They'll give it back to King. It bounces over. He picks it up at the 30-yard line, backing up near the hash marks. Finds a man, Hernandez, back to King. He rips one, bounces just wide of target. Loose ball tracked down by number 3, Mike Francia. 1:08 to go in the first quarter, 29 seconds to go on the power play. Francia gives it up to King. They'll give it back. Or now King has it at the top of the box. Gives it over to Krause, to Francia. Back to Krause. Over to McCormick, rips a shot. That ball saved by Connor Darcy and bounces out of play behind the net, track down by the Wolverines. 13 seconds to go on the power play. 52.6 seconds left in the period. They'll give it up to Francia. Francia passes. A far pass is juggled by King, tracking down the loose ball. It's bouncing around. He doesn't know where it is, but it's finally picked up by Mike Hernandez. Hernandez swings it over to Francia on the near side at the 15-yard line. Power play is over for Michigan. They have 35 seconds to get a tally here at even strength. Francia gives it back to McCormick, and a timeout again called by John Paul. Michigan not able to get it done with 1 minute with a man advantage, and with 31.7 seconds left here in the second period, it does look like they will head into the break trailing by 3 goals. Meanwhile, over in the Red Wings game, the Wings have scored on a power play. Not sure who was going to be credited with that one, but they do take a 1-0 lead in that one. I believe Riley Sheehan with the tally for the Detroit Red Wings. But in this game, Michigan unable to take advantage of their power play, have not been able to find the back of the net any time recently. Ian King's individual effort being the only reason that they have tallied in this game so far. Wolverines trudging their way back out onto the field. And, you know, when you score 1 goal per half, it's not a very good pace if you want to win a game of lacrosse. Penn State has averaged a bit better clip. Gerald Logan is giving up 11.7 goals a game for the Wolverines. Connor Darcy giving up something like 8.9. The Wolverines definitely up against it right now. Looks like Jackson and King on the field for Michigan, along with Krause and McCormick, among others. Hernandez swings it toward King at midfield, gives it back to Hernandez on the near side at the 25. Cuts inside. His shot goes way wide. Will Meter will chase it down for Michigan with 17.9 seconds to go in the first half. Meter behind the Michigan net. Cuts, stops, swings out to Hernandez, rips a shot. That's way wide. It's chased down by Mike Francia. 7.8 seconds. The Wolverines going to have to work quickly after he picks up the loose ball. Francia enters the field of play. Speculative pass back toward the middle is finds no one in particular. It's chased down by Hernandez, who throws an off-balance shot. They shoot. Oh, they almost got an opportunity there. Hernandez's pass was caught by Kyle Jackson, but he was unable to turn and fire one on net. Before the end of the first half, the teams will head into the locker room, and Penn State will head in with a 4-1 lead. The Wolverines, offensively dormant, will need to kick it into an extra gear in the second half. We'll be back with you in about 15 minutes to broadcast that for you. But for now, I will leave you for a quick halftime break. Hello and welcome back to WCBN FM Ann Arbor's coverage of Michigan lacrosse. In case you missed the first half, it ended pretty poorly for the Wolverines as they headed into the locker room trailing the Nittany Lions 4-1 in this must-win game. The Wolverines will start the second half heading from left to right in front of me. Brad Lott will face off against Drake Kreitz and the Wolverines. They're going to need to dig deep and find something extra if they're going to match up with these Nittany Lions and outscore them by at least 3 goals here in a game that could end the Wolverines season. Lott and Kreitz facing off in the center circle. The refs drop the ball. Step back, and we're underway. Lott and Kreitz meet in the middle. There's a scrum. Ball is loose heading into Wolverine territory. Knocked down. Gembis swiping at it, and it's finally picked up by Chase Brown. He's harassed and bodied up by some Nittany Lions. Loses the ball again. It bounces up in the air, and it's picked up by Gembis. Shovels it over to a man on the Wolverines, but now it's picked up by Penn State. And they'll give it up to Nick Aponte. Aponte swings it across the field to number 39, Mike Sutton. Sutton at the far side at the 20, now the 15-yard line. Taking his time with it. He's met over there by Bergman. Sutton swings it back to Matt Florence. Florence at the 25 now down to the 20, the 15, the 10 on the far side. Well removed from the net at the time being. Florence taking his time. Coming to join him behind the net is Aponte. Florence now moving to his left, cuts back to the right, runs into Aponte, stops, turns back, and takes his time in the Wolverines' end zone. Now turns ready for another run in on net. Florence swings it. Shot is saved by Gerald Logan. That one, a hard rip by TJ Sanders, and Logan with the quick reactions to stop that one. Running up the left side of the field now is Chase Brown. He'll dump it back toward midfield to Logan. Logan with the safe pass to the near side as Mikey Schlosser crosses midfield. Schlosser at the 40, now the 30-yard line. The 20 swings it back. Number 15, Will Meter. Meter running across the field toward the far side to the 10-yard line, gives it back out to Schlosser. Schlosser passes to Hernandez at the 45 between the hash marks. Hernandez defended there by James Chakey. He'll throw it back to Schlosser. Schlosser's pass to King is dropped, bobbled, and then picked up by King. Avoiding the turnover, turns with it. Fakes a pass over to Schlosser, now moving in toward his right hand. In on goal, low shot, whistles by the net and out of play. It's going to be chased down there by Will Meter. King shot that one from inside the right hash marks at about the 20, but didn't get much on it. Now Meter cutting toward the inside, bounces one just wide of target, and chasing that one down. Near the corner of the field of play is David McCormick. He picks it up and sprints toward the middle behind the net. Now cutting back out in front, bounces a shot again. An odd angle shot for the Wolverines that goes wide. Loose ball picked up by the Wolverines, Ian King. King turns with it, gets it back out. Waiting for a shot, looking for a spot as Hernandez rips one, bounces in, scores! Mikey Hernandez cutting his way, spinning inside the 20-yard line between the hash marks, found a little bit of space to shoot and got off a wicked quick snapshot that bounced by the goalie Connor Darcy. So Michigan with an early good start to the second half. They now trail by only 2 goals. The score now 4-2. The shot tally on today's game, 24-19 in favor of the Nittany Lions. The Wolverines certainly boosting the area on that category on that last possession, although none were really threatening until Hernandez's successful effort. Hernandez and King, the 2 goal scorers on the day for the Wolverines. Now the face-off is fought for and kicked back into Wolverines territory. It's picked up by number 7, Mike Richards. Richards back behind the net. Finds TJ Sanders. Sanders defended over there by Andrew Hatton. Swings it over to Nick Aponte on the near side at the 5. Back out to Florence at the 20, still on the near side. Florence working toward his left-hand side. Defended over there, I believe, by Dan Kynek. Turns, spins with it, working toward the far side in front of the net. Jumps, shoots, and that one bounced just to the left side of the goal mouth. Loose ball picked up over there by Nick Aponte. Aponte working toward his left hand. Gembis giving him some space. Aponte swings back behind the net to Florence. Florence defended over there by Hatton. Hatton fends him off. Lawrence turns with it back behind the net now area on the near side. Works his way into the goal line. Bringing up down the right hash marks his pass out to Manley. Manley throws it across the field to give it back to Manley. Manley swings it behind the net. Aponte in a dangerous position. Gambus ready to run out and meet him wherever he cuts. Logan raising his stick to cut up the pad. Aponte still with time. Throws it out in front. Shot off the body of Logan. Logan chases down the loose ball. Spins with it. Loses it. And now with an open net. Penn State moving in. Shoots and scores. Another mental error by Gerald Logan. This time it wasn't a bad pass, but a poor decision to take himself way outside of the net. And Dan Craig, easy as you light, slots it home from 15 yards. Just bounced that into a wide open net. The Wolverines defense tried to consolidate in front of the net, but really not much they could do. And Penn State retakes their 3-goal lead over the Wolverines. The score now 5-2 here in the Big House. Not the best day for Gerald Logan. He's made some saves, but also a turnover, and now that, which I guess was another turnover that have led directly to Penn State goals. Poor turnovers at that. Now with the ball going the other way is number 13, James Chakey. He'll throw it across the field to Aponte. Aponte with 3 goals for the Nittany Lions on the day backs his way up the left side hash marks out to the 40-yard line. Tosses it to Brian Prestro. Prestro at the near side hash marks at the 40. Gives it back to Aponte, back to Prestro. Prestro between the hash marks now tosses it to the far side to Sexton. Sexton with it, sizing up the Michigan defense, cutting in near the 25-yard line. Inside the hash marks, gives it to Prestro. His shot saved by Logan. A low shot that almost found its mark. And now a loose ball bouncing around near midfield is fought for, still loose, shoveled forward by the Wolverines. I don't know where it is, and now Penn State has it, going the other way with it. Crossing the 40-yard line, now the 30, and now back to the 20. The 10 was Aponte, who found his way back beyond midfield to pick up that loose ball. He'll dump it off to number 39, Mike Sutton. Sutton to the near side, numbers at the 30-yard line to Prestro. Prestro back over to Sutton. Sutton at the 20, cutting toward his right, toward the hash marks. Finds a pass over to Prestro, rips one, and he scores! Ryan Prestro from the far side hash marks about the 22-yard line. And they found him in a ton of space to operate, and he wound up and he just blazed that one by Gerald Logan. Penn State has now doubled Michigan's total in the quarter, outscoring them 2-1 in the third. And now their lead is 4 over the Wolverines, wearing their maize jerseys today against Penn State's navy blue. It'll be Lott and Kreitz facing off at midfield. They fight for it. Loose ball trickles through Kreitz's legs, and it's picked up by the Nittany Lions. Aponte has it now at the 25-yard line. Working down toward the 10 on the near side, between the numbers and hash marks, now toward those left side hash marks for the Nittany Lions. He'll throw a soft, probing pass out to Pat Manley, who dumps it off to Matt Florence. Florence gives it up to Dan Craig coming onto the field. Craig back to Manley, back to Craig on the far side at the 20-yard line. Craig cuts his way inside. He's got a good opportunity. His point-blank shot is saved by Gerald Logan, and they ran over Logan, so Michigan able to gain possession on that loose ball. Couple of soft passes up the left side. They get it across midfield. Kyle Jackson coming in with some speed down the 30-yard line. Sorry, that's not Jackson. That's number 43, Thomas Orr. They have it behind the net now with McCormick. He dumps it to the near side to Meter, who swings it back out to the 40-yard line, the near side. Kyle Jackson. No, that's Mikey Schlosser. Schlosser working his way toward his right side. Dumps it behind the net. Finds Meter. Meter defended closely by Ryan Guitar. Swings it out to the left side to King. King to Hernandez, back to Kyle Jackson. Jackson at the 30-yard line on the near side. Cuts inside. The 15-yard line looked like he was going to take a shot. Instead opted to pass it back out to number 15, Will Meter, jogging down the right side of the field. Back behind the goal in the end zone now at the 5, now to the 10. Passes right in front of the net. Point blank shot saved by Connor Darcy. With an opportunity there, David McCormick probably regrets not taking an extra second and putting that one home. But Darcy, with a really phenomenal effort, his pass up the field to James Chakey. Chakey gets it across the timeline, across midfield, I guess, up to number 7, Mike Richards. Richards jogging his way in behind the goal for Penn State. Defended there by Schlosser. Turns, rips a shot, saved at very close range over there by Gerald Logan. This ball picked up by the Wolverines, and now Matt Gembis across the 30, the 40, and across the 50. Gembis into attacking territory for the Wolverines. That will probably be a short-lived phenomena. He dumps it off to number 5, David McCormick, who takes his time. Gembis actually down near the 20. Looks like he'll stay on for this attack. McCormick down to the 15, the 10 on the near side, dumps it behind the net to Will Meter. Gembis makes his way back toward midfield as Michigan will get their full attacking ensemble on. Meter working his way out toward the front of the net before he is rebuffed. Swings back out to Kennedy at midfield. He drops the pass. Kennedy with a mental lapse there, crosses, and going with it are the Penn State Nittany Lions. It's number 30, Kyle Zittel, who picked it up. Zittel still has the ball behind the Wolverines' net, between the hash marks, about the end zone, swings it to the far side across the field to number 29, TJ Sanders. Sanders has a goal on the day for the Nittany Lions, and he has the ball now in the end zone between the hash marks. Defended over there by Andrew Hatton. They'll swing it over to the far side, number 10, Aponte. Aponte back up top to Pat Manley. Sorry, that was Matt Florence who swung it back to Pat Manley. Manley at the 30. The 25, the 20 on the far side, behind the net now. And working his way out toward the front of the net is Sanders. Knocked back by Hatton, swings a pass out to Florence at the 25 between the hash marks, spins back to his left hand, shoots his shot high and wide of target, goes out of bounds. It'll be picked up over there by Nick Aponte. He was the first to it. Aponte now working toward his right, toward the near side between the hash marks behind the goal. Swings it back over to number 39, Mike Sutton. Sutton to Florence. Now to the far side to Manley. Manley working in on that, spins toward his right hand, dumps off a pass to Sanders. Sanders pass in front of the net, shot, and scores. Great vision there by TJ Sanders with a cross-goal pass over to Mike Sutton. Sutton left all alone from about 5 yards out at the hash marks, able to slot it home. Sutton, the leading goal scorer for the Nittany Lions in conference play, gets on the score sheet now with his first tally of the day, and Penn State leads the Wolverines 7-2, and that'll lead to a timeout by head coach John Paul, who obviously not too happy about what he has seen thus far here in this third period. Penn State taking control of this game and very close to putting this game out of reach. The Wolverines have just been outclassed for the majority of this contest. So giving you a quick little statistical update. The scorers for the Wolverines on today's game are Ian King and Mike Hernandez. McCormick has 4 shots on goal for the Maize and Blue, who have recorded 13 total shots on goal. Of the ones that Connor Darcy has had to deal with, he has saved 8 of 10. Logan has saved 12 of 19 shots. For the Penn State Nittany Lions, the scoring load has been pretty well distributed. Nick Aponte had 3 first-half goals, but after him, it has been Sanders, Sutton, Dan Craig, and Brian Prestra coming off the bench to score for the Nittany Lions. Plenty of players getting shots on net and getting involved in the game. Both of the Wolverines' efforts unassisted, but for Penn State, Sanders assisted on the Sutton goal. Sutton and Dan Craig also have assists to their name for the Nittany Lions. Refs have the ball near midfield, and Michigan has gone out and taken their positions. Looks like we're about ready to resume play after the timeout. Just a reminder, you are listening to WCBN FM Ann Arbor's broadcast of Michigan lacrosse. For those of you, I should say for the one of you who has tuned in, I appreciate your patronage. We do down here at WCBN. Facing off at midfield, a different face for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Billy Lombardi will go up against, I believe, still Brad Lott for Michigan. Yes, it's Brad Lott. Face-offs have been a mixed bag thus far for the Michigan Wolverines. But with Penn State, a comfortable 5-goal lead, maybe time to give their main man Kreitz a bit of rest. In the attacking area right now for the Wolverines appears to be Will Meter, along with a few others. Ready to join the scrum at midfield are Chase Brown and Parker McKee for Michigan. Shaky and James Burke ready to join the scrum for Penn State. 5:32 to go here in the third period, the third quarter, I should say, with Penn State leading the Michigan Wolverines 7-2. They drop the ball in the center circle. They fight for it, and the refs blow the whistle and wave it in Michigan's direction. The loose ball will be picked up over there by Parker McKee, who struggled with it, but finally able to sort things out on the far side of the 30-yard line. He is harassed over there by Shaky. McKee working down toward the 20 now, fending off Shaky with his body. His long pass out toward midfield is handled there by Mike Hernandez. Hernandez sprinting down the right side at the 35-yard line, stops, resumes his run on net, throws it behind the net to Meter, makes a tough catch there on a low pass. Meter soft pass over to Ian King. King on the far side of the 20, turns with it. Now behind the net is King. King scored on a similar looking goal, but now he pulls off on his run and dumps it back out to Kyle Jackson. Jackson swings it back to number 14 for the Wolverines, Patrick Tracy. Tracy working his way out toward the 20-yard line, now the 15. In at the 10, spins, dumps it back down low to David McCormick. McCormick back to Tracy, who is working his way back out toward the front of the net. Stops, spins, odd angle, gives it back to McCormick. Finds King wide open, shoots off the crossbar, down, and it ricochets out of play at the Wolverines sideline. That was so close. Now McCormick picks it up, working his way in behind the goal. Now in front, his shot whistles just wide, and the Wolverines will be awarded with the loose ball as Will Meter in position to track it down. King has got to be kicking himself for not putting that one just an inch lower. Would have been a goal for the Wolverines. Now number 14, Tracy has it behind the net. He'll swing it out over to King. King working his way toward the right side. Cuts inside. That's Hernandez, actually. Hernandez's shot goes high and out of play. Loose ball picked up this time by Will Meter. Meter able to grab it. As you can hear, it's getting a bit windy here in the big house. Meter works his way out in front of the net, unopposed, behind the head shot. A little bit gimmicky and a little bit wild as he totally missed his target. Didn't have much on that. Would have been a nifty goal for the Wolverines, but as it stands, they track down the loose ball, give it up to Tracy, who gives it back to Ian King now behind the net for the Wolverines. Gets a screen from Tracy, working toward his left hand, bullying his way inside, stops, rips a low shot, bounces into the goal. Ian King had a couple of opportunities on that possession, and on that one, he never gave up on his position. And again, his second goal of the game on a low shot that bounced by the goalie Connor Darcy for Penn State. The Wolverines back within 4 here in the big house. It ain't much, but it's something. The Wolverines will need all the momentum they can get heading into the fourth quarter with a lot of ground to make up. They trail the Nittany Lions 7-3 right now here in the third quarter with 3:37 to go. Facing off in midfield will be Kreitz and number 21, Brad Lott. Ref drops the ball. And sorry, that was not Kreitz. That was again number 14, Billy Lombardi. The Wolverines have possession now. Meter cutting inside at the 20, now down to the 15, looking for a pass on front of that. Wisely decides to hold on to it. Digging in, he's in close position behind the goal. Now throws it across the field. His pass over the stick of Ian King, an errant pass from Will Meter. Turns it over, and going to pick it up there for Penn State is Peter Triolo. Triolo throws it to his goalie, Darcy. Darcy swings it toward the near side to Florence. He's probably going to make a run across midfield. He cuts inside and does just that. Across the 40, down the numbers on the near side to the 30-yard line, where he will stop and wait for his substitutes to get on. Throws it back toward midfield, where it is handled there by Pat Manley. Manley has no one on his right side, a little frustrated at the positioning, throws it back to Craig on the near side, gives it back to Manley. Now Penn State is set up and ready to go. They swing it to the far side to Florence, back to Manley, back to Craig on the near side. Craig at the 20-yard line. Dan Craig cuts inside near the hash marks, pushed off by a Wolverine, gives it back over to Manley. Manley running up the right side, in on goal. He's got a chance, he's got a shot, and he has got a goal. Pat Manley running up the right side, switched it back to his left and threw it across the body of Gerald Logan, who was not ready for that goal. Thomas Orr gathering his teammates up, giving them a bit of a scolding because it really has been unacceptable for the Wolverines. Could not really afford to give one up there. But they did just that, and Penn State has responded to every Wolverines goal in kind. They now lead 8-3 with 2:32 to go here in the third quarter. It'll be Lott and Lombardi facing off in the middle circle. Refs wave the whistle. It's a ball loose to Michigan territory, bouncing around, and a foul called on Penn State, so Michigan will have possession. Going the other way with it. It's Dan Kynek. He swings it across the field to Mecca Gembis. Gembis gives it up to Logan and swings it to the near side to Schlosser. Schlosser making a run, crosses midfield at the 50, the 40, the 35, 30 down the right side, cuts inside. A little bit of space to shoot, opted not to from 15 yards out, and instead dumps it back to David Joseph. Joseph now cuts inside at the 20-yard line from the hash marks. His shot saved by Connor Darcy. Joseph got a lot on that one, and Darcy able to come up with a clutch stop. Now going the other way are the Nittany Lions. Harassed near midfield is, I believe, TJ Sanders. Either way, no matter who it was, he gave it up. And going with it now down the right side of the field at the 10-yard line is number 1, Brian Prestro. Prestro working behind the net. Sorry, that's not Prestro. That's number 7, Mike Richards. Richards behind the net for the Wolverines. Works it out front. Had a guy across crease. Just missed with the pass. Loose ball picked up over there by Mike Sutton. Sutton passes it back out to Prestro, who has a lot of space on the left side. Far on the near side, near the numbers, at the 25. Prestro taking his time, not being pressured too closely by Chase Brown. Prestro gives it back up to number 25, Ryan Keenan. Keenan stops at the 30 on the near side, over to Prestro between the hash marks. Far side now finds Sexton. Sexton to Prestro. Over here to Aponte on the near side at the 20. Aponte with 3 goals on the day for Penn State. Moves toward his right, dumps it back out to Prestro. Penn State with a deliberate attack here, throwing it to the far side to Sexton. Sexton cuts his way inside, rebuffed, pulls it back. Gives it up to number 1, Brian Prestro at the 35 between the hash marks. Over to the sidelines. They'll give it back to Prestro. Back over to Sexton. Penn State with 30 seconds left in this half, opting to get the last possession. Perhaps Sexton moving inside, finds Prestro. Low shot saved on one hop by Logan. Logan with a long outlet pass up the right side to Chase Brown. Brown at the 40, the 30 in the attacking zone. Stops, passes inside, the shot, and a goal. Michigan with a counter-attacking score. Will Meter with that one at point-blank range out in front of the net. What a run there by Chase Brown, coming off the save there by Gerald Logan. And Gerald Logan, give him some credit. He's had some turnovers today, but that was an absolute dime hitting Chase Brown in stride. Brown with a vision to find Will Meter out on the left side of the goal, cuts right in front of the goal mouth and roofs it top cheese on the left side. And the Wolverines back within 4 here in the Big House. Shots tally the 27 for Michigan and 35 for Penn State with 15 seconds left here in the third quarter. Whoever wants a goal is going to have to work quickly off of faceoff. It'll be Lott going up against Lombardi in the middle. Ready to run in are Charlie Keedy and another Wolverine on the far side. They tie up the faceoff. It's picked up by Lombardi. Lombardi going with some speed now across the 30 between the hash marks. In on goal. His shot just wide. Michigan let him walk in almost unopposed now with 7 seconds left. Penn State going to have to get a quick attack. Picking it up near that far side is Sutton. Sutton spins. In on goal. His shot just wide. And that will do it for the third quarter here in the Big House. So the Wolverines finally come to life on the offensive end, but Penn State keeps the goal-scoring pace up. They lead your Wolverines 8-4 at the end of 3. The fans have trickled out a bit here, but most have decided to stay here till the end, as the dance cam will be Scanning around the crowd, looking for some lively people. A little bit of a steady trickle up the steps heading toward either the concessions or the bathroom or what have you. But for the most part, the fans are getting down with their bad selves in the crowd. Meanwhile, that Red Wings game is still a 1-0 game in Detroit's favor. They're playing in Tampa Bay today, but Detroit, thus far, has controlled the play in that one. We're going to switch directions for the fourth quarter, so the Wolverines will be moving from right to left in front of me. I'm on the far side of the stadium, from the far side of Chrysler. Not too good with the cardinal directions, so just going to have to use reference points as indications of where I'm broadcasting from, but it's from the press box here at the Big House in Ann Arbor. Should be familiar territory to most. On to attack for the Wolverines. Well, on for the face-off scrum, I should say, is number 49, Chase Brown, on one side. And on the other side, well, it looks like Lott will take the face-off. And on the other side, number, I believe, 35, Chase Young. So Chase Brown and Chase Young will get ready to chase the loose ball after the face-off. It will be Brad Lott facing off, I believe, against Lombardi for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Lombardi, not their typical face-off, man. Drake Crines has had a better stats throughout the year, but perhaps nursing some sort of injury. Perhaps he's tired, or perhaps they're just trying to get Lombardi the experience for whatever reason. And is Lombardi out there against Brad Lott trying to win the ball to start the fourth quarter? It's one into Michigan territory. Lott falls on it, and I think they're going to get Penn State for some sort of violation. The ball is picked up over there by Chase Young. Young dumps it to the far side. Finds a man, it's Meter. Meter dumps it behind the net to David McCormick. McCormick out to Kyle Jackson on the near side at the 20-yard line. He's outside the numbers, and he'll swing it back to Mikey Schlosser, who works his way inside the left side hash mark at 35. Tosses it across the field. I think that's Ian King. King working his way toward his left-hand turn. Sorry, that's Hernandez. Turns to his right. Bodying up, shoots, and scores. Ian King from the right side hash marks inside the 20-yard line. No, sorry, that's Mike Hernandez. I already established that was Hernandez. Mike Hernandez from the hash marks inside the 20-yard line with a fabulous individual effort, shielding his man off with his body and keeping that stick extended, ready to uncoil and whip a shot on goal. Hernandez, that's his second goal of the game. And Michigan back within 3 goals against the Penn State Nittany Lions. Some life into the crowd and some life into this Michigan team with 14:25 to go in the game. Facing off in the center will be Lott and number 14, Lombardi. Face-off is fought for. Ball still near the middle. The loose ball is flung back in the Wolverines' direction. It's picked up over there by Chase Brown. Brown across midfield has the ball hacked away from him. He loses it. That was, Chase Brown who lost it out of bounds. Penn State picks up the loose ball, crossing midfield and going the other way with it. They'll swing it over to a man. They shoot and they score. That was a really, really quick counterattack for the Nittany Lions, and really heartbreaking, too, for the Wolverines. I think that was TJ Sanders with the rip from the near side. That was TJ Sanders. That's his second goal of the game. Penn State now leads the Wolverines 9-5, and that's something that they could not afford to surrender. After Chase Brown got the faceoff, he wasn't able to find an outlet to pass, tried to run across midfield himself, but had his stick whacked from behind. And once Penn State got possession, it was just a couple series of passes, and they caught the Wolverines off guard. So Lott and Lombardi facing off back at midfield. Lombardi whacks it back toward his own territory. It's picked up, and running down the field the other way for the Penn State Nittany Lions was number 13, James Chakey. Chakey dumps it down to number 29, TJ Sanders. Sanders gives it back toward midfield, and it'll be handed off toward Well, now Manley decided to hold on to it, faked it, dump off to Craig, and now swings it toward the near side to Matt Florence. Florence back to Manley, back to Florence on the near side at the 30-yard line, cutting inside, looks for a shot. His stick was deflected as he followed through, so it was a soft shot that went wide of target. Loose ball picked up by the Nittany Lions' Nick Aponte. Aponte working his way on the near side, short side, defended closely by Hatton. Hatton whacking at his legs, at his arms, trying to get that ball away from him. Aponte passes it over to Sutton, who swings it back out toward the midfield area. They find Florence on the near side, moving his way toward his right-hand side, switches hands, loses the ball. It's down in front of the net, swung up in the air. Aponte knocks down number 43, Thomas Orr chasing it, and Aponte unable to keep that ball in bounds, so Michigan takes over. Going the other way with it now is Chase Young for Michigan. Young throws a soft across-field pass that is gathered there. Good catch by Thomas Orr in face of oncoming traffic. Orr dumps it off to Jackson. Jackson can't handle the pass. The ball on the ground, trapped by Jackson's stick. They're fighting for a loose ball. It's knocked up in the air, still loose. And a couple of Wolverines in the area bounce it back toward midfield, finally gathering it, picking it up is the Wolverines' David Joseph. He'll get it over to McCormick. McCormick swings it to Meter on the far side. The Red Wings just scored again, so that's nice. Meter across the 10-yard line, swings it back toward midfield, finds Hernandez, the recent goal scorer for the Wolverines. Hernandez at the 25-yard line, now back to the 30 at the hash marks. Swings it across field to Joseph at the 20 on the near side numbers, working his way inside. Joseph stops at the 10, spins toward his right hand. Crossfield passes handled there by Hernandez, weaving his way inside, finds space for a shot. He shoots, and he scores. That was not Hernandez, that was Ian King. It's hard to tell the difference between number 10 and number 16. But a good effort there by Ian King after the setup pass there by David Joseph. Joseph took his time and found King in some space. King weaved between two Penn State defenders going right and then left, finding space for a shot and whipping it off of the catching stick of the goalie Connor Darcy and bringing the Wolverines back within 3. Still plenty of time left in this game as the Michigan Wolverines trail the Nittany Lions 9-6. It'll be a lot of Lombardi facing off in the center circle. Lombardi and Lott fighting for it. Lott looks to trap it. Goes between his legs back toward the Wolverines' territory. It's picked up there by Dan Kynek. Kynek getting whacked all about his facial area. Able to hold on to the ball. Way to battle Dan Kynek. Swings it back to Logan. Logan fakes the pass. He's being harassed. Now finds Stephen Bergman at the 25 of the Wolverines' defensive zone. Bergman can't find anyone. Now swings it across the field to Logan. Logan gives to Hernandez, who has plenty of time and space to run across midfield, which he will do down the left side at the 20. Down, or the 40, now the 30 is Hernandez. Hernandez gives it over to King. King at the far side of the 20, moving his way slowly inside, cuts, jumps, now stops back at the 25, tries a long shot, and that one deflected in front, and Darcy got his stick to it and directed it wide. Meter chases down the loose ball for the Wolverines. And a timeout now, I believe, called by the Penn State Nittany Lions, as they have been on the receiving end of a torrent of energy by these Michigan Wolverines. Michigan with 11:10 remaining here in the fourth quarter has 30 shots on the game. Penn State with 38. Logan has 13 saves on 22 shots on goal. Darcy with 10 saves on 16 shots on goal. Your scoring leader for the Michigan Wolverines, as it has been all season, is Ian King. King with 3 goals today has raised his season total to an even 20. Hernandez has 2 goals. He has raised his goal total from 6 to 8. And Will Meter also on the score sheet for Michigan as they trail 9-6. For the Penn State Nittany Lions, Nick Aponte has 3 goals on the day, raising his total on the season from 11 to 14. However, I don't think all of those have come in Big Ten play, so Aponte definitely lighting up the stat sheet beyond where he normally would for these Nittany Lions. Yeah, Aponte had 2 goals in conference play coming into this game, and he's gotten 3 in this game alone. Big reason why Penn State has a 3-goal lead here as we are late in the second half with 11:10 to go in the fourth quarter. We see Spartans jerseys and Michigan jerseys, I guess, apparel in the crowd right now. All sides coming together in support of these Wolverines on their senior day. We have resumed play now. David Joseph has it for Michigan. At the far side, numbers in at the 20, swings it behind the net to Meter. Meter passes out front, finds Hernandez, rips a shot. That one whistles wide. A lot of mustard on that one, and it is chased down over there by Will Meter. Meter picks up the loose ball, and we're back underway. Really a speculative effort more than anything else there by Hernandez. Meter now with the ball, harassed by the defense. Passes it over to Hernandez. Hernandez crossed the field. Finds a man, working his way inside. It's Joseph. Joseph behind the net to Meter. Meter's pass out front to Hernandez. Thought about a shot at the 25. Now spins his way back to the 30. Passes to the near side to King. King at the 15-yard line. Ian King down to the 10. Bodying his way inside. Spins, shoots, and scores. A phenomenal move by Ian King. Looked like he just flicked that one in with one hand. King on the near side of the 10-yard line had a couple Penn State defenders in his area, but just somehow found the space, time, and strength to whip that one by Connor Darcy. The Wolverines now back within 2 goals for the first time since, I think since early here in the second half. 9-7 now. The Wolverines showing signs of life. Good job by King to spot that just left of the goalie Darcy's left arm. It'll be Lott and Lombardi facing off at the center circle. Lott wins the faceoff and a flag thrown onto the field. Who knows what that's going to be for? I think it's going to be a power play for the Wolverines, if I'm not mistaken, as they are getting a fresh complement of players. I'm not sure what the flag could have possibly been thrown for, as there wasn't much contact on that faceoff. Perhaps they're just rewarding. No, it will be going to the box for Penn State, number 39, Mike Sutton, just for 30 seconds, but enough to give the Wolverines time to spur an attack. King has it at midfield, working his way down toward the 30, swings it to the far side to Riley Kennedy. Kennedy behind the net, they find Francia. Francia back behind the net to McCormick. McCormick over to Meter. Meter back to McCormick. Out to Francia. Francia over to number 6. They swing it back to King. King fakes a pass or a shot. His pass inside is deflected and picked up over at the far side by Riley Kennedy. Kennedy gives it back to King at the 30. At the 25, rips a shot and scores! Ian King from way outside of a normal scoring area. An absolute bullet from 15 yards right by Connor Darcy. And we are back within 1 here at the Big House. The score now 9-8. King and Hernandez have carried their team back into this game. That was just fabulous. King looked like he was trying to set up the offense, but just wound up and just smoked it by Connor Darcy before he could turn his head. And now Lott and Lombardi facing off in the center circle. Ref blows the whistle. Lott and Lombardi still tied up, and the ball goes loose. It's picked up by Dan Kynek. Kynek dumps it back into his own zone. He's leveled at midfield. They find Logan, though, who finds a man, Matt Gembis, in wide open field. Gembis passes back across the field to Logan, who gathers it in that big catcher of his. Throws it back over to Gembis. Gembis thought about a pass, wisely stopped and gave it up to Logan, who gives it over to Hernandez on the near side. Hernandez cutting his way across the 50-yard line to the 40, the 35, 30 on the near side. Mike Hernandez passes behind the net to Will Meter. Made sure the pass was going to be good before he threw that. Meter swings it over to McCormick. McCormick finds a man, and they get it back toward midfield. David Joseph handling the play for the Wolverines at the 45 on the far side hash marks. Joseph inside the hash marks now, the 30, the 25, the 20. He throws a shot that bounces well wide of goal. The Wolverines able to come up, get to that loose ball first. Will Meter tracks it down. Meter jogging his way in behind the goal, turns with it, finds McCormick on the far side at the 10-yard line number. Joseph swings it back out toward, I believe, Hernandez. Hernandez swings it inside to number 10, Ian King, who tried a shot on goal, and it was right into the waiting glove of Darcy. Handled that one calmly, and Darcy outlets it now to number 3, Tommy O'Neill. Michigan with some big-time pressure in Penn State's defensive area, Penn State working to find the passes. They throw it all the way across the field to the waiting catch of Burnside. Burnside with a very long pass. Hail Mary-esque. It's gathered by Hatton. Hatton for the Wolverines gets it up the field. They find a man. It's number 49, Chase Brown. Brown dumps it off to Kyle Jackson. Jackson working his way inside, cutting to his right, now toward his left. Harassed by another defender. Has his jersey grabbed, dumps it over to the far side to Meter. Meter thought about a shot, decided better of it, and pulls it back, walking behind the net. 7:56 to go in this one. Michigan trails by 1. Will Meter taking his time behind the Michigan goal, working his way out toward his right hand. Stops, dumps it off to Joseph. Joseph back out toward midfield to Hernandez. Along the far side at the 20, the 15. Stops, bodying up, inside shot, point blank, saved by Darcy. Now Penn State picks up the loose ball. Michigan still applying pressure in their zone. They dump it behind the goal to Darcy. Darcy now taking some time. Michigan in need of some fresh bodies on the field. Swings it all the way across the field to Peter Triolo. Triolo, the defenseman, gets it over to Matt Florence. Florence working his way past midfield. King tried to tackle him. Lost his stick, and I think that's going to be a penalty on Ian King when all is said and done. But now Pat Manley in on goal, has it poked away from behind. Ball is loose, handled there by the goal. They give it up to Nick Aponte. Aponte on the near side at the 20-yard line for Penn State. Taking his time now down to the 15, down to the 10. Michigan with a delayed penalty. Aponte defended by Kynek, stops, going to his right. Fakes to his left, now back to his left. Pass out front toward Manley is mishandled. It trickles out toward midfield where it will be handled and given up, and absolutely leveled over there is Pat Manley. That was, I think, Chase Brown coming up to try to get that loose ball, but that'll be another penalty, and I think we're going to have a 2-man advantage for Penn State with 6:39 to go in this game. The crowd letting the boos rain down on these referees as they are meeting to discuss how they're going to levy the punishment for these Michigan Wolverines. So if I'm not mistaken, I think 2 Wolverines are going to be sent to the box at some point. There was one offside. It might be a couple at least one offside penalty. It'll be number 39, Andrew Roswell, to the box for the Wolverines, or to the penalty area. I'm not sure they use boxes out here in the big house. It'd be a bit of a novelty, I'd say, but nothing that really add to the game itself. So I think Roswell is going to be the only one coming off for the Wolverines right now. It'll be a 30-second penalty. They did get Roswell for offside. I thought there was another penalty that might be called on Ian King, but perhaps they decided against sending him to the box for that one. King, as you recall, whacked a Penn State player with his stick as he tried to cross midfield. It was a diving, desperate, lunging attempt that, and it does look like going to the box for Michigan is number 5, David McCormick. So Penn State will have a 2-man advantage for the next 30 seconds. Michigan going to have to defend with discipline and hope for some mistakes. We're underway. Florence dumps it behind the net to Sexton. Sexton over to Sutton. Sutton out to Prestro. Prestro back to Sutton. Back to Prestro at the far side 20. Sutton in front of the net to Aponte. Over to Sexton. Dumps it down low to Craig. Craig right near the goal mouth to a man. They got it back to Craig. Craig harassed there by Gembis. Fakes a pass. Now finds a man out toward the center. Sexton stops. Fakes a shot. Now he will shoot, and his shot just high. Ricochets off the wall for the Wolverines, and they have killed the penalty. So they have their men back on the defensive end. Tracking down that loose ball was Craig. Craig back to Prestro toward midfield. Florence dumps it off to Nick Aponte. Prestro will come off the field for the Nittany Lions, where he will be replaced by Pat Manley. They will swing it over to Manley near the Penn State bench at the 40-yard line. Manley over to Florence on the near side, inside the 30-yard line numbers. Back to Manley. Back to Florence at the 30. Cutting his way down near the 20 on the near side, swings it behind the net to Aponte. Aponte in front, has a man, the shot and the score by number 29, TJ Sanders. Perfectly well-timed cut toward the goal, and good vision there by Aponte to find the slashing Sanders. And at point blank, there wasn't much Logan could do. Tried to get his stick down low enough to stop the bouncing shot by Sanders, but anybody worth his salt at this college level will be able to put away a goal as easy as that. So Michigan now trails again by 2. The score 10-8 with 5 minutes and 35 seconds to go here in the fourth quarter. Just a reminder, you are listening to WCBN FM Ann Arbor's broadcast of Michigan lacrosse. It'll be Lott and Lombardi facing off in the center circle. They're fighting for it. Lombardi wins it back into Penn State's attacking territory, gives it over to Aponte. Aponte stops with it. Gembis going over to meet him at the far side, 10-yard line numbers. Aponte back toward the 20, toward the 30, and he will pass it toward midfield to Pat Manley. Manley gives it up to the near side to Matt Florence, who hasn't done much on the score sheet, but he's been around the ball all day for Penn State. Florence back to Manley, back to the far side now, and they'll give it right back to Manley in midfield. Manley over to Florence on the near side. Fakes going left, now cuts inside at the 15, spins with it, defended closely on the near side, dumps it back out to Sanders, TJ Sanders at the 30-yard line, running his way in toward the hash marks, saw a seam, dumps it back to Manley at the far side, 25-yard line. Manley across field to Florence on the near side at the 25, at the 20 now, outside the hash mark, spins inside, looking for a lane inside, couldn't find anyone, dumps it back out to Craig, who gives it over to Manley. Manley working his way toward the 15-yard line now behind the goal, finds Aponte. Aponte looking for a pass inside, doesn't find one. Now cuts his own way back, finds a man. Florence rips a shot, save made by Logan. It's up in the air. The ball is loose and handled now by Logan. Logan with a long outlet pass up the field, finds Chase Brown. Brown across the 35 to the 30, the 25, looking for a man inside. Had a lot of space, found Meter out on the far side behind the goal. Meter has McCormick with him, running his way out toward the right side, harassed by some Penn State defenders, gives it back to McCormick with 3:55 to go in the game. McCormick turns, cuts in. Whistle blown. I think that's going to be a timeout by Wolverines head coach John Paul, trying to regroup his players for one final charge at these Penn State Nittany Lions. The Wolverines have not led in this game, but they came as close as they have all game, and with Ian King's goal to make it 9-8. Penn State, however, did answer to make it 10-8 with a great pass from Nick Aponte from behind the goal to TJ Sanders out front, and Sanders, Penn State's goal-scoring leader on the year, has 3 goals for himself, along with 6 shots. Aponte has scored every time he's put one on net. He's got 3 goals for Penn State. Ian King carrying the Wolverines with 5 goals in this game. He had been matched by Kyle Jackson on the season-long score sheet, but with today he has surpassed him with ease, and King obviously has done so in 4 fewer games than Kyle Jackson. Ian King, the sophomore, definitely a bright spot for this Michigan team that may be facing dark off-season days ahead. The crowd has thinned since this game began, but still several hundred Wolverines on the other side of the field cheering on their team. Maybe a couple Nittany Lions mixed in, but, for the most part, it's hard to tell. There's not a lot of maize out there, and there's plenty of blue, but with the blue, it's hard to tell who's who. Who's rooting for the navy blue, who's rooting for the maize and blue. So we're about ready to get back underway after that timeout. Michigan will have the ball in their attacking zone. It looks like it will be Will Meter to initiate the play on the far side. Meter picks it up. Defending him will be Ryan Guitar. Meter swings it behind the net to McCormick. McCormick working his way toward the near side, gives it up to Joseph. Joseph working his way out toward the 20, gives it back to Mike Hernandez, who nears the 40, the 45, going the wrong way right now. Cuts his way down the right side now, defending by O'Neal. Hernandez swings it over to Kyle Jackson. Jackson at the 20, at the 15, cutting inside. A lot of Penn State players in the area. He's tackled. Somebody lost a stick. The ball is loose. A flag is thrown. And I think they're going to award a power play to the Wolverines. Really is hard to tell what's going on, but there was a slashing penalty somewhere in there. And heading to the sin area for a good solid minute is Ryan Guitar. So the Wolverines with a minute of power play, 3:23 to go in the game. They trail by 2 here at the Big House. And initiating for the Wolverines is number 46, Riley Kennedy. He swings behind the net. They have Francia now on the near side. Over to Peter Krause. Krause at the 25-30. Across pass. Back to Krause. Back to the near side to McCormick. McCormick dumps it to King. King working his way toward the 25, the 30. Across field to Kennedy. Kennedy thought about a shot at the 25-yard hash marks on the far side. They'll give it over to Krause. Back to King. King to Krause. Krause thought about a shot. Back to King. King pass down low to Francie. His shot is saved at close range by the goalie Darcy. Loose ball is fought for, skittering over toward the sideline on the far side. They're going to award possession to the Wolverines as they had 4 players in the area. Good effort there. Now working in toward the goal and throwing it over to McCormick. McCormick outlets to King. 7 seconds left on the power play. King shot bounces into the goal. Ian King with his 6th goal of the day for the Wolverines, and none have been bigger than that one. The Wolverines back within 1 here at the Big House. Another rocket from a little bit of distance. That one 12 yards out. He bounced it by the goalie, Connor Darcy, in between traffic. Must have been hard to locate. Got that one in on the left side beyond the right foot of Darcy, in Michigan back within 1. 2:27 to go in the game. Doesn't get much better than this, folks. This is what lacrosse is all about. Brad Lott now facing off against Billy Lombardi at midfield. Lott and Lombardi. The ref will put it down. Kynek ready to run in for the Wolverines. Lott wins it back into his own territory, wins it cleanly, dumps it back to a Wolverines defender, Matt Gembus, who lofts it back to Stefan Bergman. Bergman at the 10, gives it up to Logan at the 20, near side hash marks. Throws it back over to Bergman at the 30, the 40. Bergman stops with it, swings it back over to Logan with that long stick. Logan back to Bergman. Has a man on the near side if he wants it, but throws a long pass. Finds Kyle Jackson at the 30, the 25, 20 inside. Fakes a shot, cuts back, stops, finds a man in front of the goal, and it's bobbled, and the ball is loose, picked up by Connor Darcy. That was a golden opportunity for Will Meter, but he couldn't handle the pass from Jackson. Now going the other way with his Brian Prestro. He crosses midfield. King chased him down near the sidelines, but couldn't find him. 1:38 to go. Michigan Mayru missing that opportunity. Will Meter couldn't handle a pass right in front of the net. Perhaps eyes got bigger than his stomach. Now Matt Florence with it for Penn State at midfield. Michigan going to have to up the pressure on defense. He's defended, going over toward the far side. Throws it behind the net to Aponte. Aponte back to Florence on the far side. Numbers at the 25-yard line. Aponte taking his time out at the 40 near the hash marks. Defended over there by Dan Kynek. Swings it back to the near side to number 7, Mike Richards. Richards throws it back out to number 25, I believe. No, 22, Pat Manley. Manley harassed over there by Thomas Orr. Running down the right side, and a timeout called by Penn State. 54.4 seconds to go here in the fourth quarter. Penn State with possession with a 1-goal lead, clinging to a 1-goal lead, and Michigan had a golden opportunity to tie it up as they won off the face-off. Good pass down the field from Bergman to find a man, I believe it was Kyle Jackson, in all kinds of space at about the 25-yard line on the far side. He worked his way inside, found Will Meter right in front of the goal. Meter really unopposed by Penn State defenders, but just missed the pass. So it was a good pass by Jackson, but Meter, unable to catch that in that catch of his before turning around and probably scoring a goal. And that is the difference right now in this game with 54 seconds to go. The crowd waiting on bated breath here, as are we all. Michigan back out to take the field. Ian King has been the hero so far for the Wolverines, recording 6 goals on 8 shots, scoring 2/3 of the Wolverines' offensive production today. The fans in the front row are on their feet, though perhaps that's just because the camera has deigned to shine on them. Several little boys wearing crimson and in white jerseys. Perhaps nobody has told them that those colors are off limits here at the Big House, but maybe in a more crowded atmosphere, they would have been reprimanded for their choice of apparel. Looks like we're about ready to get back underway after the Penn State timeout. On the field for Penn State: Richards, Florence, Sanders, Sutton, number 10, Aponte, and number 22, Pat Manley. Those are your attackers for Penn State. On defense for Michigan, number 4, Matt Gembis, number 40, Stephen Bergman, and I'll get you the rest later, but it'll be Manley starting off for Penn State, running back behind the goal, harassed by both Gembis and Bergman. Bergman whacking with his stick, trying to get the ball loose from Manley. He's doing a full circuit around the field, backing out toward midfield and toward the right side. Manley dumps it off to Florence. Florence working on number 9, Dan Koenig, and Penn State content to just run this all the way around the field. Swings it over to Nick Aponte in open space on the near side at the 10-yard line. Aponte has his stick whacked from behind by Koenig, swings it back out front to Florence. Florence back out to Manley. 20 seconds to go in the game. Manley's pass bounces, but it is handled by Nick Aponte. Aponte with 14 seconds out in front of the net. He shoots his shot just wide. Michigan will take over here with 10 seconds to go, the full length of the field. Koenig picks it up. Long pass up to Kyle Jackson. Jackson sprinting forward. Long pass into the attacking zone over the head of the attacker Ian King. And with 1.9 seconds left and Penn State in possession, that is going to do it here at the Big House. The whistle blows. Penn State survives. Michigan's season is over. They tried to pull off the comeback of dreams, but fell just short, perhaps inches short of finishing in front of the net in the late fourth quarter. Your final from the Big House is Penn State 10, Michigan 9. We bid the seniors who are graduating after this game a farewell and wish Penn State the best of luck in the Big Ten tournament. But for WCBN, that's all we have for you today. Thank you for those of you who tuned in, and thank you for those of you who will tune in once this is posted on YouTube. I'm Morris Fabry, and I'm going to bid you a good night and a go blue.